Hi there, I'm Mike Willson, an environmental consultant with a specialism in firefighting foam and foam system applications, foam developments, capabilities and environmental impacts. I've been asked by Oil Technics to make this series of videos which are designed to keep you up to date with the current regulations and issues around firefighting foams. Back in March 2022, the UK Environment Agency issued a paper called The Storage and Disposal of Class B Firefighting Foams, which prohibits the use of these C8 foams from July 2025. If you think you may have C8 foam or residues of C8 PFAS, it's best to arrange a PFAS laboratory test. You can do so by contacting info@foamtesting.com, which will connect you with Oil Technics' independent foam testing laboratory. Should you have C8 PFAS foam or tank contaminated with a PFAS foam, you'll need to arrange for the disposal of this within the regulatory guidelines, which currently means high temperature incineration or other acceptable method to the regulator. Moving on to C6 foams, these are allowed for continued use in flammable liquid fire emergencies and to protect lives. However, fluorine-free foams are generally preferred for firefighter training and system testing, unless all the foam used is contained, collected and disposed of safely by high temperature incineration or an alternative form of disposal accepted by your local regulatory authority. In 2024, the Health and Safety Executive has just conducted a call for evidence regarding future UK C6 PFAS foam restrictions to determine whether they will follow the current draft ECHA C6 foam restriction proposals in Europe. They'll also consider whether to modify them based on evidence provided by foam users, the fire industry and important stakeholders, or perhaps follow a different path. In Europe, these regulations are set by the European Chemicals Agency. Europe is further ahead with proposed restrictions for use of all PFAS in firefighting foams than the UK, with varying transition periods proposed up to 10 years, depending on the perceived hazard severity of each sector. Under current European Union regulations, C6 foams are allowed to be used for emergency firefighting use, particularly on bulk flammable liquid hazards and where lives may be in danger. It's expected that Coma and Cerveso 3 sites, as well as offshore installations, will have 10 years to transition to fluorine-free foams once these regulations eventually come into force. This chart shows the transition periods proposed for different sectors under the draft regulations, although these may change when the legislation is ratified. During these agreed transition periods, C6 foam users are required to ensure C6 foams are only used for fires involving flammable liquids, not for training or testing. In these instances, fluorine-free foams must be used even though they have different performance characteristics from C6 foams. You can find out more about these differences by watching our video on this topic, but to summarise the issues, transitioning to fluorine-free foam can be a complicated and expensive process, which can potentially place lives and critical infrastructure at unnecessarily extra risk of life loss, harm or severe damage, particularly where volatile fuels like gasoline, crude oil, condensate or naphtha are being used and stored. Also consider that seawater in firewater ring mains and concurrent dry chemical usage can prematurely degrade fluorine-free foam blankets. This could reduce their effectiveness, potentially rendering systems virtually ineffective, thereby potentially placing lives under unacceptably increased danger. Seconds do count when saving lives. Underlining the critical importance of ensuring that your existing designed fire protections are not being unintentionally compromised by any transition to F3s is important because it could inadvertently increase rather than reduce danger to life safety. If you have any questions or want to discuss your particular site requirements or situation in more detail, please do get in touch via info@firefightingfoam.com. Thanks for watching.